Good afternoon. Today I introduce to you something which is on the cutting edge of governance. Now, I want to make a statement. Before I introduce this book, rumor, that's how I literally abbreviate this little book. It is the rule moderation theorem of governance. Rule moderation theorem of governance. Now, you might be wondering why I have to coin a theorem on the future of governance. Now, some of you might be wondering, why talk about government? Governments are not changed by politicians. Governments are changed by thinkers. Thinkers thought through what would be the paradigm of governance. For instance, democracy. Democracy was thought through by some of the Greek thinkers. They gave the theory. Think about socialism. Socialism was thought through by some East European thinkers, such as Karl Marx and others. Although some of those theorems did not bear fruit, they were the basis upon which future governments would be raised or even based. And we know that we follow their theorems today, and some work very fantastically, others don't. Now, my theorizing in the rule moderation theorem of governance is that the future is very bleak in terms of governance. Democracy is having a lot of problems. So is capitalism. These have been the political and economic theories, respectively, that have kept society in the last 80 years. But these theories were dealing with abundance of resources. They were dealing with a world which was mostly multipolar world, a world in which there were one or two very vested superpowers. The world is changing. We are moving towards a unipolar world. Very soon, there will be only one greatest nation on earth. We don't know what that nation is going to be. But also the biggest problem is going to be resources. Remember, 500 years ago, the earth had abundance of resources. Today, those resources are fewer. But also, factor in the quadrant of population. We had more resources in the past with a smaller population. Now we have got less resources with a larger population. This is where some people have said survival would be of the fittest. But it shouldn't be. If the world is going to listen to me and read rumor, the rule moderation theorem of governance, the world is going to be preserved. This little book is my introduction to this theory. The theory is ongoing. It's being developed. But I've created a scenario paradigm in which we have to return to nurture. We need to learn lessons that already exist in nature. The vagaries of capitalism have been tilting very fast towards excesses. Excess accumulation, excess ordering, excess banking, excess investing, and sometimes excess ownership of means of production by one entity or one corporation or one government. That will not work. The world is not ready for a unipolar world with scarce resources. It's going to build a situation in which the rest of the world, probably 99% of the world, will be quaggling into poverty and struggles, whilst 1% of the world will be enjoying the hefty 99% value of the world. This rule, which I have introduced in this book, helps us to return back to moderation. Now, it's not simply the way you know about moderation. There are theorems and there are theories that I've created in this book, which if we apply very well, nations will survive. And I don't care if you believe my theory or not, just look at the world now. Who is controlling the wealth of the nations? Who is in charge? Sometimes it's not even the nations that produce. But there is one thing that all the nations can benefit from, and that is to return to true moderation. Doing everything in moderation, especially banking on the smallest we have of the resources in the world. I introduce the rate of operation as well as the systematic comfort configurations. Now, these are formulaic in nature. It means the nations that will apply this theory has the potential to survive in the long run than nations that will ignore this. Nations that will tend to excesses, that will tend to extremes, like extreme right and extreme left, are going to be left behind. Nations must begin to tend towards the middle, to moderation. The theory is in this little book. You are a government, a politician, a thinker, an academician, a university professor of political science or economics. You must get this book and start to see what theory is and how it can help the world towards a moderate as well as a survival mentality that is going to benefit all and not only some. This little book is available everywhere books will be sold, and even on Amazon. RUMO, the Rule Moderation Theorem of Governance. Thank you.